Hi guys, I hope you're all keeping well. So, my apologies for this video being delayed. When I said they are digging up the road outside my house, I literally had a pneumatic drill outside there yesterday. And and it's that continuous banging, and it was just too much. My head was exploding, and rather than being a cheerful, happy video, I was ready to commit murder, so I didn't feel it was best to attempt to film. So I've started bright and early today, and so far so good, so I better get on with it. So where to start? Well, I am going to talk about the last video that I did called Hide the Mic. Your comments made it absolutely hilarious. There are some bits that I've missed that I will go over, but before we start with them, let's have the spoonful of sugar that is the Princess of Wales. Catherine looked absolutely radiant in a dark green Burberry suit, which we have seen her wear before. I must admit, I do like how she styled it this time compared to the green pussy bow blouse. I think it was just almost too much green, but it's Catherine. She would look gorgeous in a bin bag regardless. The staff at the family-owned textile mill was spotted having a laugh and a joke with the princess. And I have to say with Catherine, well, I've probably say this in every video, when she smiles, everyone smiles around her. I think she's just got one of those captivating grins. And she looks absolutely taken with every single event that she attends. It doesn't matter what she's doing, whether she's on a farm, whether she's doing a military parade, she just really does throw herself into each and every engagement that we see her at. And I think this is why people always speak so highly of her. She comes across as so lovely because she's actually interested in the people that she meets. Now, Catherine has a family connection to the mill, which was established in 1773, and that was her ancestors owned a textile business called William Lupton & Co., who went on to sell it to A.W. Hainsworth in 1958. The visit was captured by one of my favourite royal photographers, Chris Jackson. It's nice to see him back to taking photographs of the real royals. As Catherine went round and toured the establishment, learning about the various manufacturing processes and techniques, she met with several of the mentors and also their apprentices who are being passed down the skills and techniques because they use traditional machinery and traditional techniques. This is something that needs to be handed down to the generations. And to be honest with you, it's one of my bugbears. But anyone that works in any sort of industry where humans have done it predominantly, everything is now sadly being taken over by robots. It's cheaper, it's more efficient, but I still think you lose a certain edge, a certain quality. And this might sound tin hatty to some of you, but one day something's going to happen and we're going to have a massive power outage and no one's going to have been trained in all of these skills, and it's going to cause absolute mayhem. Now, seeing as I've said the magic words, which is mayhem, the Montecito mayhem, which is Harry and Meghan. And we're going to go back to my last video. If you haven't watched it already, I suggest watching it first. But there has been lots of coverage when they attended Kevin Costner's 1805 charity fundraisers for first responders. Due to a big scramble to do with Harry refusing to take the microphone like it was a snake, and then the organisers doing everything to keep the microphone out of Meghan's hands, it's turned into quite the carry-on film, Carry On Duchess. But your comments were absolutely dynamite. In there I saw comments such as Meghan was ready to take the microphone and serenade Kevin Costner with her version of I Will Always Love You, and it would be I Will Always Love Mimi. Lots of references to her hair. Some of you don't believe she looks like olive oil, but she actually has dressed as a polo pony with the coat, with the hairstyle. There was someone else, Rob, who I love on Twitter. Hi, Rob. He turned around and said perhaps she was auditioning for a role as a horse on Kevin Costner's show, Yellowstone. I mean, yeah, everyone was really going to town on this. But the two important bits that I missed, which I am going to play for you in this video. First of all, the reason why I missed this one is because I was looking at people's body language. It's often better to watch videos with no sound on. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched a music video without sound on. It looks really weird. So that's why I missed it. And this is really, really important. You saw Meghan had been pouring at Kevin Costner's friend, who also started up Adam's Angels, who is Adam McCaig, who is the real estate agent for Santa Barbara and Montecito. Meghan hassled him so much he gave her a business card. When Kevin finally gets hold of the microphone looking disgruntled, he starts his speech and he says,
Good afternoon, everyone. I get asked a lot by my friends who have no manners. Kev, what's this place cost? What's it worth? And I can just simply tell you on a day like today, it's worth every penny.
Kevin Costner is a very intelligent and articulate man. There is no way that he got a microphone at his event and was then stuck for words to go, my friends. He has been forced, I believe, to call them friends by WME. For some reason, have obviously pushed for Meghan and Harry to be these special guests and be involved with his fundraiser, which I'm sure even because of this backlash, he's probably pissed about, because like everything Harry and Meghan go to, if you now type in 1805 Kevin Costner, Google Images, it's all photographs of Meghan and Harry. So it comes a point with, yes, they can bring publicity to whatever event that they attend, but is it the publicity that you really want? So there's another clip which I missed, full credit given to the bottom of the screen. This was lifted off of Reddit. Now, this particular moment is Harry and Meghan going around Kevin Costner's charity event, doing what some have deemed as a pseudo royal walkabout, greeting people at someone else's event, as you do, which I think is incredibly wrong. And again, I don't think this has gone down well, possibly with Mr. Costner himself. But Meghan's mask slips here because she's talking to people as they're going along. Harry dares to start talking to someone without her. Look at her reaction. Look at her stop. Look at her glare at him. Look at her jaw clench, and look at the way that she then stares creepily at the guy he's talking to. So, of course, everyone then focuses on Meghan like, Jesus, what? What have I done now? This is not normal behaviour for a wife or for anyone that is walking around talking to people. Harry was talking to someone, she was talking to someone else. The moment she hears Harry's voice and the attention is not solely on her, she's got to shut it down like she did with her mother, like the Royal Rogue has covered on so many videos. It's absolutely terrifying. She looks like such a mean and nasty person. Again, this is the true Meghan. This is what so many of us see. But again, her fan base and all these other people that are just like, oh no, they're so lovely. They're such a lovely couple. I don't believe that they are. And just as it happens, I've got the perfect news story that's come out to further back up my feelings on the fake humanitarians. Now, lots of people say any negative stories that come out about Harry and Meghan are lies, a smear campaign. They are unfounded. But courtesy of the Freedom of Information requests that the media have put through to the Department of Education and emails that have been released which show the communications between the school's press secretary and Archewell, by extension Meghan, this story is shockingly true. It will anger some of you. And yes, school children were silenced by the Little Mermaid herself. In 2021, Meghan dressed in thousands of pounds worth of clothes. She was also wearing over £300,000 worth of jewellery, right? They went to visit the Malia Jackson School in Harlem, where 94% of the children are eligible for free dinners due to their family going through hardship. The school actually helps provide shelter for families without permanent residences. So this alone should tell you that the students aged between 8 and 13 years old are well and truly below the breadline. They are one of the poorest schools in the state of New York. So Harry and Meghan attended the school and took along a Netflix crew. They posed for photographs with the children, encouraged the children to hug them, and Meghan later read her book, The Bench, bearing in mind that The Bench was all to do with the importance of a father being in a child's life. The majority of children that are living under the breadline do not have both parents with them. They are often being brought up as a single parent family. And let's be real, the majority of them are being raised by single mothers. So Harry and Meghan, during this visit, the multi-millionaires, the self-declared philanthropists that they are, do you know what they took to the school? That they gave the school a donation of 2 boxes of vegetables and herbs. On top of this, in leaked emails, it's also been shown that Archewell, again, I say by extension Meghan, amended the statement regarding the donations of free personal health and hygiene products for the school by Procter and Gamble. They amended it to say Archwell working with Procter and Gamble. Basically, they were taking credit for something that they had nothing to do with. They had said that they were going to donate a washer and dryer to the school, which would enable the school to make sure that the children are in clean clothes every day. Again, I feel like the wording of that was very much Amber Heard pledging to pay money. I don't know at this point if they ever did donate it, but I don't know. There's never been any confirmation from the school that they had. But then, you know, if they're under a legally binding document silencing them, it's hard to speak out either way. So Meghan's appearance at the school was put down to the importance, raising awareness to teaching children early literacy. So Meghan used this perfect opportunity. It's got nothing to do with teaching the children literacy. She used it as a way that she could promote her book, The Bench, that she had recently launched. As I said, one, it talks about fathers, and as for teaching children literacy, I mean, the book is dedicated to the man that makes her heart go thump, thump. It's hardly what I'd call an award-winning children's book. Now, my suspicions have long been that Meghan has used these children, as we've seen her do before, to promote herself. Well, this has now been backed up with the email exchange between Archwell and the school's press secretary, Danielle Filson, who was trying to sort out all of the arrangements and demands. And one of the conversations that were going back and forth, including Penguin Publishers, who published The Bench, was that specific seating, cushions and carpets were requested to suit Meghan's aesthetics. Move over Mariah Carey. The green mats and cushions were in no doubt to match the colouring of her book. So quite clearly, Meghan used the school and the children as part of a promotional tour for her book. Now, in these back and forth emails, I'll break it down for you roughly, but it shows that the school clearly had concerns about filming the children, and they were met with lukewarm responses with such wording such as, perhaps we can restrict our coverage. It also proved that a blanket release does cover the teachers and the students. People have tried to defend Harry and Meghan, saying it's just the teachers that were covered. No, this actually says from Archwell staff themselves, the students were also involved in this. Which for me, I find absolutely bamboozling that a request like this can happen without the consent of each and every single one of their parents, carers, or whoever is responsible for the child outside of school hours. Now, this is where it gets even more disgusting. Meghan, through her staff, rejected calling the reading session a read aloud because they wanted her visit to sound more substantial and asked for wording to be changed as supporting communities and the arts. So let's move on to the hugging thing, right? I've said before that Meghan hugs people. Now, this is different. These are not adults. They cannot give their consent. They are not old enough. What are the schools thinking where they allow and encourage the children to hug strangers, right? There is something fundamentally wrong with that. I'm not attacking the school, and I can imagine maybe they weren't even aware that Harry and Meghan were going to ask the children to hug them, or the Netflix crew were going to encourage it. I highly doubt it. Now, some of the children were overwhelmed and burst into tears. They captured this moment that they were so emotional to see Harry and Meghan. They are 8, 9, 10 years old. They don't know who Harry and Meghan are. They don't even know who the royal family is. You have just encouraged children that are all masked up, going through the pandemic, that have probably been told that they can't play with other children for the past year, that they probably can't hug relatives because they're in fear of making them sick. We literally taught a generation of children that they shouldn't touch other people, and here they are being encouraged to hug strangers in their safe space, which is a school playground. It is no different to Harry and Meghan when they went into that nursery and they staged those photographs in there. Parents were not allowed to go into the nurseries because of the pandemic to see their own children interacting and playing. But Harry and Meghan, again, two strangers, were allowed to go in and interact with minors. Now, I'm not implying that Harry and Meghan have done anything untoward towards the children, but this is all to do with parents teaching their children, don't go near strangers, don't hug strangers. Oh, it's okay to go hug strangers and spend time with strangers if they're rich and there's camera crews there and they're famous. anonymous. Well, what can that possibly lead to other than nothing but confusion for the children? Harry and Meghan clearly did this for optics, but look at the way Harry behaves with the children when he doesn't realise he's being filmed. This shows you he's not connecting with the children, he is using them, like his wife, as just props. And also the bit that really frustrates me here as well, not the fact that Harry and Meghan use their royal titles to bulldoze their way into situations and get to hug other people's children. It's the fact that they have done all of this, they've monetized it for Netflix to show an image. They are exploiting other people's children to make themselves look like saints. We saw this behaviour of Meghan showing compassion in action when she got on a flight and flew down to Uvalde in the wake less than 48 hours after lots of children lost their lives. Families were still coming to terms hearing the news, and Meghan goes there in a private capacity, they said. Just because she was dressed like she just got out of a truck does not make it private. She deliberately laid flowers when she could have got a member of staff to do it. She could have sent donations. She deliberately walked in front of all of the film crew, all of the camera crew. She walked around one way, then she walked back around the other way, and she had 3 of her own personal photographers with her, which I captured in another video. There is no one that these two will not use for optics, and this is why that they are very much disliked. Now, this part I can say is 100% not a rumour. This is true because it came from the Freedom of Information from the Department of Education requests. Harry and Meghan, through Archwell, had hit the school with an appearance release, basically an NDA, non-disclosure agreement to control what could and could not be said during or post-visit about the ex-royal couple. All of those involved in the visit would be banned from speaking to the press or publishing social media posts now or in the future that criticised the couple or was deemed negative. Well, who deems what as negative? I mean, the parents weren't signing documents to say that complete strangers could come into their school, donate a couple of mouldy boxes of veg or whatever, and hug their children for money. Which is what they've done. It was all for Netflix footage. So Harry and Meghan are earning money by doing these appearances and donated vegetables and herb boxes to a school of underprivileged children. Philanthropy at its finest. So once this document has been issued to the school, Archwell follows it up with saying, well, you can get your lawyers to look it over. It's apparently standard practice. So you're asking an underfunded school to then get their lawyers involved to go over a document where you're basically saying, I want all of your teachers and your school to never breathe a word and say anything negative, no matter what happens, about Harry and Meghan's visit. Or what? What? They're going to sue the school if someone speaks out? Already an underfunded school? Are they going to sue the teachers that are doing an incredible job at this school? Are they going to sue the students, the school children's parents? Why on earth would they think that a document like that needs to be pushed on the school? Now, I've heard of legal documents being issued for appearance release, and that's normally just covers the basics of do not talk to the press, do not do social media posts until the visit has been carried out, mainly for security reasons, because you don't want a whole Taylor Swift moment and everyone mobbing the area. Now, the whole trip was planned 6 months in advance, and the school was hit apparently 3 days beforehand with this request to silence school children and teachers. Well, basically anyone involved in the visit. And this is the absolute hypocrisy here. We saw Meghan on Oprah talk about how she was Ariel in The Little Mermaid because her voice was taken from her. She's complained about how she was completely silenced. Do you remember Oprah? Silenced. Yet here they are silencing people that they go on visits to. It makes you wonder, how many other people do they silence? Is this why no one really speaks out about them when they've gone to certain events? You know, the well child. Would Harry and Meghan do that to families of sick children? I happen to believe that they would. The Invictus Games, we saw that there were so many unhappy people and there were lots of things that were going on there. Again, silence, because I think that people are worried that they will have a legal problem if they speak out against them. You can't tell me it's not happening because we capture photographs of it. We just don't hear the backstory behind it. Now, as the newspapers have released this story, it's also been revealed that in correspondence between Archwell and the school's press secretary, Danielle Filson, had to request that they remove certain language of their press release, as she just wanted to make it a bit less promotion-y, right? So she is asking the press secretary of the school that Harry and Meghan are meant to be drawing attention to make it less promotion-y about Meghan's book, The Bench. That's the wording. So Meghan has used the school, this underprivileged school in Harlem, to promote her book, The Bench. That's what the whole visit was about. But to be silencing teachers and school children with the threat of a lawsuit, that to me, for them even, is pretty diabolical. So I really would love to hear your thoughts on this one, and I will see you in the comments, and I will be back very soon with some more royal news. Take care for now. Bye.